Hello, we're very happy to have Darin LaHood, Congressman from the 18th District here at the Illinois Chamber of Commerce to visit us. He's in town today to have a roundtable on trade, which is an incredibly important issue for the state of Illinois. We're the 6th largest exporting state. Canada and Mexico, our 2 largest trading partners, are part of the USMCA, which I know you're going to talk about. So, Congressman, thanks for being here. Why don't you talk a little bit about the roundtable and what you want to hear and what you want to communicate to your constituents and participants in the roundtable.
Well, Todd, thanks for having me, and great to be here at the Chamber. And as you mentioned, trade is important to my district and the state of Illinois. I'm proud in Congress to serve on the Ways and Means Committee that has jurisdiction over trade. That's where the USMCA agreement came out of. And you look at the USMCA agreement, this is our largest trading agreement in the history of our country with Mexico and Canada, our 2 largest trading partners. And what this agreement equals is jobs and economic opportunities for Illinois. 40% of the products we grow, produce, or manufacture in Illinois go to Canada or Mexico now. In this agreement, we continue to break down barriers and tariffs for our agricultural products, our manufacturing products. And so this is a good deal. I'm glad it was done in a bipartisan way. We got it across the finish line in the House in December. It'll now go to the Senate. I think we'll have a quick vote over there here next week, and we'll get it put in place.
So real quick, just kind of a little bit inside baseball. Pelosi, it seems, held this up until after the impeachment vote, that a deal was very doable. Can you tell me a little about the negotiations and the back and forth, as much as you can, obviously?
Well, I would just, yes. I mean, we could have done this a year ago. We should have done it a year ago. Remember, Canada, their legislature had passed it and signed it a year ago. Mexico, same thing. They were just waiting on the U.S. Pelosi, because the Democrats took over, delayed it, really extracted as much political advantage as she could on this. So she wanted to time it to have it coincide with impeachment, to say that she was being bipartisan. I'm glad we got it done, regardless of the political circumstances, but you saw the vote, 350 votes in a bipartisan way. This is good for the country. It's good for the American workers. It's good for businesses, and so I'm glad we were able to get it done.
The other big trade news out of Washington, and it's great to hear that there are actually things getting done out in Washington. I know you're working hard for that, and trade is so important. It's great that that's what's happening. The first phase of the China deal that Trump is going to sign on the 15th, he says, seems to be very important as well. Agriculture purchases are a big part of that. That's very important to our state, but so is protection of intellectual properties. Are you comfortable that this first phase is a good deal for Illinois and the nation?
Well, I'm glad we're making progress. Our wish list for what we would want on China is extensive. Remember, particularly in intellectual property and forced technology transfers, China's really been ripping us off for 25 years. President Trump has put a focus on how we change that behavior. Phase 1 has some good things in there, clearly doesn't go far enough on there. But what it does do is it helps with ag purchases, heavy manufacturing purchases. That helps our companies here in Illinois. Remember, 25% of the soybeans we grow here in Illinois go to China every year. So that's going to open that market back up. That's good for the agriculture industry and agribusiness. But we still have further work to do when it comes to making sure that China abides by the same rules and standards that every other industrialized country in the world does. We're not there yet. This is the first step on that. I hope that we can build on this as we move forward. But China is an important trading partner for Illinois, for agriculture and manufacturing. So we're on the right step. I give President Trump credit. And I would also say this, Ambassador Lighthizer, who's our trade ambassador, we couldn't ask for a more capable trade ambassador, and he understands the ramifications here. So this is a good start. We got to keep building on it.
That's great. Well, the issue that everybody's talking about, I have to go ahead and ask you about, and we talked about this briefly, but it is the impeachment vote and what may or may not happen coming forward. Now, you were a no vote on impeachment, along with all of the other Republicans as well. Do you just want to walk through your thought process and where you think things might head from here?
Well, I wish we hadn't ended up where we were with impeachment. I'm a former federal prosecutor, Todd. I looked at the evidence. I read the whistleblower report. I read all of the transcripts, everything that I could look at. I didn't see the threshold being met or the predicate being met for impeachment, high crimes and misdemeanors. People may not have liked the behavior the president engaged in, maybe call it unconventional. But I think if we scrutinized every phone call that President Obama had done or President Clinton had done or President Bush had done, we'd find something here. Let's also remember, Ukraine is the third most corrupt country in the world, and the president was trying to weed out corruption. the bottom line with all of this is our Constitution is premised on the power being with the people. We're going to have an election less than 9 months from now. You're going to be able to early vote less than 9 months from now in Illinois. You're going to have lots of choices. We ought to let the people decide that. I think going down this road of impeachment and grinding government to a halt and creating all this animosity, I think we would have been better spent working on an infrastructure bill, focusing on how you bring down the high cost of prescription drugs, focused on the opioid crisis. Those are things we ought to be focused on and not impeachment. And so I think the bottom line is we shouldn't have 535 partisan members of Congress deciding this. We ought to let the people decide that next November.
Very good. Well, I look forward to participating in the roundtable here in just about 45 minutes, and thanks for coming in.
Great to be with you, Todd. Thanks.
Thanks for your support for the business community.
Absolutely.
Thank you.